We're in HD, indoors, and we're rating a super premium cigar. A great way to start off 2011. Greetings, I'm Bob Woods, publisher and managing editor of Stogied, as well as National Cigar Examiner for Examiner.com. You're locked into a revamped Stogied cigar review, which falls into a larger program we're now calling Stogied Video Cigar News, Reviews, and Views. Say that 3 times fast. Today's spotlight stick comes from a cigar line that venerable Cigar Aficionado magazine calls the most sought-after cigar in the world. I'm guessing that if you smoked a stogie on New Year's Eve, it was either from this line or you wish you were smoking one from this line. What are we talking about? The Fuente OpusX Perfecxion, and I'm sure I screwed that up, number 77 Shark. It's 5.5 inches long by 52 ring gauge. It's made in the Dominican Republic by the Fuente family, and it's Dominican through and through with the wrapper, binder, and filler, all of which are painstakingly grown for this special line of cigars. The torpedo-shaped Shark is unique for an OpusX cigar in that its foot is box pressed, but only the foot, and it's protected by a red strip of fabric. By the way, the Shark's cousin, the OpusX XXX Bellicoso, was named one of the 25 best cigars of the year by Cigar Aficionado, number 3 actually. And most important, when you just mention the name OpusX to many cigar smokers, you'll set off their salivary glands in no time flat, like mine for example. So before we move on to the ratings, a quick show note. For 2011, we've not only gone HD and come indoors for the winter, we've made a couple of changes in our ratings format as well. Remember the pre-burn and finger burner sections? Well, they're now in the ash heap of Stogied history. Mainly because I was getting tired of saying stupid things like, that smells good, and wow, that's definitely a finger burner. I mean, who cares? Plus, they don't have any bearing on the ratings average. So, because of that, and because they took up a lot of time, and I'm bound and determined to make these videos as short and as informative as possible, bye-bye to the pre-burner and finger burner. We also now have the construction rating much later in the review so that we can address any burn issues or any other issues we might have with the cigar while we're smoking it, as we, hopefully smoke it down to the nub. One thing that's not changing though is our weekly giveaway of 2 cigars that we review here on the Stogied Video Cigar News, Reviews, and Views show. I may have to change that name. No matter what, we'll have details on how you can enter to win 2 of the OpusXs that I'm going to be smoking a bit later in the program. Before we get to the cigar itself, we always pair our sticks with a particular adult beverage or some kind of drink. Now, it doesn't have to be an alcoholic drink. In fact, we're going to be steering away somewhat from alcohol over the next few months. That's mainly because your host needs to drop a couple of holiday pounds, and other pounds would help too. But because we have such a special cigar today, we're going to pair it with an equally special libation. This right here is Hudson Baby Bourbon whiskey. It's from Tuthill Town Spirits in New York State, proving that great bourbons don't have to be from Kentucky. I actually reviewed this bourbon when we launched Stogied just 4 short months ago. It seems not really that short when you're working on it every day though. And I'm not going to lie to you, this is one heck of a bottle of bourbon. In fact, oh yeah, definitely. This also has one of the thickest wax coverings I've ever seen on any bottle of whiskey or other type of libation. So because I've had this before, I can already tell you that first of all, it's got a heck of a nose. There's a mild sweetness to it too. Hints of caramel. I get vanilla off of it as well, and a little bit of honey there too, actually. I gotta warn you, it's $50 a bottle. At least that's what I pay for it here. I absolutely love it though. Because of the cost though, I just don't drink it a lot, only on special occasions. And a bottle can last me anywhere from 6 to 9 months, just because there's not a lot of special things going on in my life right now. Just kidding about that. But anyhow, about 6 to 9 months, 50 bucks. It's really not such a bad deal, I don't think. And I definitely say that the rating of a OpusX qualifies for a special occasion to drink one of these things. But the big question I have, though, is will the full-bodied OpusX Shark gobble up the taste of this little baby bourbon? Well, let's find out. My first impression of this cigar is, well, it's just what you'd expect from an OpusX. I'm going to break it out of the package here. It's very well made. The foot is interesting. It's really cool how it tapers from a normal to a box press, and we're gonna. Well, you know something? It's taped on. We're not going to take off the red strip yet, but it's brilliantly made, very solid. It's done very well. There's barely any tooth to it at all. And hardly any veins. It's really, I don't know if a masterpiece is going a little bit too far, but you know, it's a very, very well made cigar. So with all that in mind, I'm giving the OpusX Shark a solid 4.7 for its initial appearance, and it really is a finely made cigar. Now, I was originally supposed to do this review to coincide with the New Year's holiday, but a bad head cold pretty effectively took care of not only that, but my entire New Year's celebration too. No use of crying over spilled milk though, so let's make up for some lost time. Now that it's lit, by the way, you may notice our new dog Ben coming in and out of frame here every once in a while. This is the first one that we've had in here, and he's curious, and he may actually like the smell of cigar smoke. I don't know. So anyhow, initial taste impressions. I'm definitely spice, some cocoa. It's one of those cigars that you know is going to be full-bodied right from the start, and it definitely delivers in that. My God, it's an amazing little smoke. In fact, I wouldn't even call it a little smoke. I'm just going to call it a big smoke right now. So also getting a little bit of pepper with it too, but very, very well, very, very nice full-bodied cigar. Going to... You know, so far it's actually holding up to it. The baby bourbon, I think, is going to have enough oomph there to really complement this cigar well and not get overwhelmed by it. So for the start of this cigar, I'm going to give it a 4.6. It's really like, you know, eating a major kick-ass salad before, you know, your basic kick-ass steak and lobster meal, in that it really warms up your taste buds for something you know is going to be excellent. And yes, there are absolutely kick-ass salads out there. I'll be back in a while with further thoughts on the OpusX Shark at the midway point of this stick. Aren't you jealous? We're halfway through now. The first thing I've got to say is, if there's any cigar out there that deserved to wear a WWE-sized band, it's the OpusX. On that note, some of my follow-up impressions. Damn. Getting a lot more cedar, a lot more spice. Pepper too. I actually got a little bit of cream about a third of the way through, but that's history. Overall, this is a really enjoyable, what I will call a hit to the gut cigar, because it's most definitely a full-bodied cigar. So at the midway point, I'm going to give it a 4.7, and I'm also wishing that time would slow down just a bit so I can enjoy this longer. It's not burning too fast or anything like that. I just really want this thing to last for as long as possible, basically. Speaking of goodness, it's bourbon time. Yeah, you know, I think if there was a good type of libation to have with a truly full, you know, hit you in the gut type of cigar like the OpusX, it's definitely going to be a bourbon, because this stuff is amazing. So with that in mind, I'm shutting down the camera again so I can talk less and enjoy more. I'll see you at the end of this excellent cigar. Well, now I'm kind of bummed, because the cigar it's almost finished, as you saw. Just in terms of the taste, it's getting strong towards the end. If you thought it was strong at the beginning, wait until you get the end of this thing. Yet it's not really overly strong or anything like that at the same time. I'm still getting all the flavors that I did before, you know, mainly the cedar, the woody type taste, the spice, the stronger pepper and things like that. Still very, very good. You know, if you're not a fan of overly strong cigars, you might want to put it out at this point. I'm not like that, so I'm going to smoke this sucker down to the very nub. And the bourbon is still holding up very, very well to the stick too. So at the end, I'm going to give this a 4.8, and I'm wishing I wasn't giving away 2 of these babies as well, because once this is done, I would ideally have a second one right away. Construction-wise, this cigar was a real trooper. Now, at the very beginning, because I was more concerned about communicating to you rather than making sure that the cigar started okay, I actually messed up a little bit in terms of lighting it initially. It burned evenly yet unevenly because of my mistake. Now now I realized that right away, so I corrected it, and at that point it's burned pretty much evenly all the way down to the very end. Only had to touch it up minor just once or twice throughout its short but very, very nice life. So in that regard, for construction, I'm giving the Fuente OpusX Shark a very, very solid 4.7. Averaging it all out, this particular OpusX is just like any of the other ones that I've had. I haven't had a lot, but this one, the Shark, definitely compares very favorably to any of the other ones that I've had. So, you know, putting in all the averages and crunching and computing them, not that that's a big deal or anything like that. This particular OpusX comes in at a 4.7. If you convert that to, you know, like the Cigar Aficionado scale, that's a 94, which is a score that you'd just about expect from the OpusX family via the Fuentes of the Dominican Republic. Do you think that Daisy Fuentes is related? It's an interesting question. So anyhow, speaking of questions, the big question is it a thumbs up or a thumbs down? Now, usually we here at Stogie answer that question based on a combination of the average rating plus price, and then tossing in that, you know, when you combine the both, is it really worth it? So you're talking 4.7 average, that's good. 23 bucks a stick? Ouch, that's kind of heavy duty. But, you know, we are talking about the OpusX here. So I'm going to say that it's a thumbs up. But at the same time, just realize that there's a lot of cigars out there that are about as good as the OpusX, but are a lot cheaper. Just look at Cigar Aficionado's Best of 2010 list. Boy, they should be paying me for this. This is almost a commercial for CA at this point. But the 2010 list that they have out now, you're going to find plenty of great yet relatively inexpensive cigars on their list. That being said, I'm glad I saved up a bit of Christmas money to buy this stick for the review, as well as to have 2 to give away next week in our Stogie Video Cigar News, Reviews, and Views giveaway. I'm going to have to rename that, aren't I? So look for the web address that gives details on how to enter the sweepstakes in just a few seconds. So until next time, I'm Bob Woods of Stogie and Examiner.com, saying if you choose to enjoy cigars, here's hoping that you're able to light up, puff, and rotate as often as you like, wherever you like.